here in the 2026 cycle that we'll get to here in a bit. We've got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We're going to talk about the Tennessee quarterback battle that will officially kick off this week in fall camp. We'll talk about some new recruiting news and nuggets for Tennessee. We'll be joined by Michael Borky of Sports Talk Mississippi to talk all things Ole Miss and maybe some Tennessee as well with him at the bottom of hour number one. We'll kick off hour number two with Chris Pruitt of Dalton High School and kick off our segment there presented by SM Athletics, talking all things Catamount football in Ringgold, Georgia, and Chattanooga, that area. So Chris Pruitt coming in from Roswell and makes that change there. So we'll talk to him at the top of hour number two. We'll also talk about who the fall guy will be for this offense this year if the offense does not get back into the swing of things through the air. We'll talk about that. And then we'll wrap up with some off-topic Lost in the Smoky segment here in hour number one, or hour number two as well. So we've got a jam-packed show for you guys here on The Chase Monday through Friday, 1 to 3, right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. You can watch us. We're back on YouTube, X, Facebook here in week number 2. So make sure you check us out. If you want to watch this program, you can do so with ease there. You can also listen on the Fan Run Radio app. It's free, so download that today. And 105.7 FM, 1340 AM is another way you can listen live each and every day. Garrett, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Excited to be here. Just drove back up this morning. I was down in Atlanta, back home for the weekend. Just kind of hanging out down there with the family. Came back up this morning. Pretty painless commute, not too much traffic. So I could coast with you today, and excited to be on and talk some ball.
Well, I appreciate you being here, my friend, and I'm glad you had safe travels. We did the back roads to your neck of the woods, Cherokee County, and all that when we went home last week to visit my folks back in Forsyth, Georgia. So it was it's a good drive. I like doing that drive.
Yeah, no, it's not too bad. I mean, once you get through Chattanooga, there's not really too much traffic. The rest of the way, kind of once you get past the Buc-ee's especially, it's like, I guess, considered like Adairsville. And then once you get past that, you're pretty smooth sailing from there usually. But yeah, it's not too bad of a drive. There's no traffic like today. It only takes, a little more than 3 hours, make a couple stops, max 3.5. But I mean, it's pretty quick. I mean, it's really not that further than driving from Nashville or something in state. So
100%. Jay, how was your weekend, sir?
Yeah, it was great. Some of my friends from back home came up to visit. And on Friday, when I took that day off, I ended up going hiking in the Smokies. So that was a lot of fun to do that.
Did you see any bears?
I did not.
Did you see any elk?
No.
See any animals?
I did not.
You hiked in the Smokies this weekend. You didn't see one animal.
Squirrels?
I saw turkey.
Okay, you saw some turkeys. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, where were you? You had to see some squirrels. Like, what are we talking about here?
I think I saw some squirrels too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Was it fun?
Yeah, it was great. We got to see the main place that we went to was a giant waterfall. So it was great to see. Yeah.
It's a good time. What about you, Matt? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I've been dog sitting for my brother this weekend. So
what kind of dog?
He's got a big golden retriever and then a miniature Australian shepherd.
Oh,
yeah, 2
hyper dogs.
Yeah, the golden retriever's old. He's not really hyper. Yeah.
Okay. How was that?
They're good dogs. The golden retriever freaks out over thunder and stuff, so he was freaking out this morning. So I was pushing it close getting here because I was leaving from his house rather than leaving from where I usually stay. So.
You made it though.
I made it though.
We appreciate it. You made it. It's all that matters. Is
minutes
you made
to
it
spare. Yeah.
Hey, it's a Monday. We're all dragging here today, and my dog, Khaleesi the dog, she is not a big fan of the thunder and lightning. So leaving her in that today was tough. But yeah, it's been crazy weather, and I think it's supposed to be like that all week, where we're gonna have some random rain showers and thunder and lightning, and then it's gonna clear back up and look like nothing ever happened like 15 minutes later. But hey, I'll take the relief. The rain hopefully will cool things off, and it's not going to be crazy hot like it was over the weekend and this past week. But here in the top of hour number one, Garrett, we have a lot to discuss here. So one of the things I saw over the weekend, I've seen different Tennessee writers talk about, was if this quarterback situation might turn out to be Milton versus Hendon Hooker 2.0 from 2021. And I do think there is a strong possibility of that. Obviously, Milton was a spring transfer. Joey Aguilar is a spring transfer. You've seen some pluses and minuses with Joe. Like early on, Joe Milton at Michigan, as you recall, like Michigan fans were amped up about Joe. Not as big of a sample size, obviously, because Joey Aguilar was, over the course of a full season in 2023, an awesome college quarterback. In 2024, it was a completely different story, and we don't have to relitigate what happened in 24 and how all that unfolded for Aguilar. But I do think it seems like a lot of fans could see a scenario where Aguilar, they go with the vet, but Jake Merklinger or even George McIntyre find a way to insert themselves into the lineup sooner rather than later. But the difference was, and I think a lot of folks have to remember, is like, I don't know when Milton would have been pulled if it wasn't for injury, because Hendon Hooker got his shot because Milton got hurt. We don't know how long, or if Heupel had made. What if Heupel still could have got to 7-5 with Joe Milton in 2021? Does he actually ever make that switch from Milton to Hooker? I don't know. We'll never know the answer to that. But I think that's something, to me, I think about is when people make that comparison in 21. I mean, that was an injury-related change. That was not a performance-related change. And I think if whoever Heupel picks here in fall camp, I think history shows he's going to want to roll with that guy unless injuries happen or things get so bad that he has no choice but to make a change. And I don't know. He's been able to win 19 games of below average quarterback play. I think whoever he picks this fall, barring injuries, who he wants to roll with the whole year, right?
Yeah, no, I think this year and 21 have some similarities and some differences. Obviously, Milton coming in from Michigan had, an extremely, strong arm, and a lot of people thought that he could be kind of the next elite Tennessee quarterback if he cut down on interceptions. And obviously 2023 was, he did that. He didn't throw interceptions in a large part, and he was decent at times in 2023, and he had obviously some moments where he didn't play his best. But I think overall in 2023, quarterback play wasn't really the reason why you had a season that was a little bit of a step off from 2022. Obviously, he didn't have the receivers from the previous year with Tillman and Wyatt gone. But as you said, from 2021, when Milton was the guy that started, I was at the Pitt game in 21, and I remember he had a lot of overthrows in that game. But I think a lot of fans, casual fans for sure, didn't even really know what they were going to get in Hendon Hooker. I mean, when he came from Virginia Tech, I think a lot of people thought, again, he had potential, but I think both of those guys kind of had a little bit of a turnover problem at their previous school, probably Joe Milton more so than Hendon. But I mean, largely in part, when they both came here, they didn't turn the ball over at a high rate, and especially Hendon Hooker really controlled the ball in 2022. So I think, when you look at a guy like Aguilar, like you said, I think you'll go for the vet to start. He's played 2 full years of FBS, football, started 20-plus games. Merklinger doesn't have that experience at all, nor does McIntyre. Obviously, at this point, pretty much just a 2-man race. But I think it is going to be a little bit different this year, that if Aguilar does start throwing interceptions, I think Merk does probably get a chance. It just depends, because to me, if Aguilar comes out and throws a lot of interceptions in the first 3 games, you probably bench him. And then I know we've talked about it before, but you don't really want to go into week 5 against Mississippi State not knowing who your quarterback is. I think by that point in the season, you really have to nail it down. I don't think you're beating Georgia unless you have elite QB play. So, I mean, that one's kind of just, you toss an L in the column if you have interceptions there. But the Mississippi State game, you really got to have that figured out, because you don't want to have any chance of starting 0-2 in conference play, because you're not exactly sure where you're getting, in your backfield at quarterback.
No, you're 100% right. And I don't know which way it's going to go. I think people who have penciled in Joey Aguilar, like what I've seen this weekend too, is all the players in their uniforms, and they did a photo shoot, I guess, last week. Aguilar rocking the number 6, Baker rocked the number 6 at Oklahoma. I think fans have latched on to the fact of like, hey, Baker was a walk-on. Baker, everyone doubted Baker. And then obviously has a fantastic final season at Oklahoma. He's now consistently top 15-ish quarterback in the NFL, and has found his footing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's a great story, both at Oklahoma and in the NFL, where he was discarded by the Cleveland Browns for Deshaun Watson. And I think the Bucs won that sweepstakes there with Baker Mayfield. But I just think, when people, like so many people, they really do want, so many Vol fans want Joey Aguilar to be the guy and want it to be a 1-year, just fun experience. And I think part of it, and I was thinking about this weekend, Dalton Connect as a 1-year wonder, Chaz Lanier as a 1-year wonder. I think Vol fans have really loved having the 1-year just transfer portal addition who no one saw coming. Like, nobody saw Dalton Knecht having that kind of breakout. It was a big move up for Chaz Lanier to go from North Florida to an SEC schedule, and it took time for him to get comfortable in SEC play versus what he was seeing with the Ospreys down there in North Florida. I think fans, especially Tennessee, they love these underdog type stories, and they love the 1 year just ball out and go to the league type deals. And I feel like fans are really rallying behind the Joey Aguilar and Joey football part of this.
Yeah, and I mean, you even saw that on the baseball team this year with Andrew Fisher and Doyle coming in from Ole Miss, and especially Doyle being a guy, that started his career at Coastal, Fisher being a guy that started his career at Duke, had, a stop before they got to Ole Miss. They come here as basically 1 year players before they're going to the draft, have great seasons. Obviously, that's a little bit different than football. As we've said before, the quarterback, position is probably the most important position in all of sports, or at least the top, 3 main sports of basketball, baseball, and football. I can't think of a position really anymore. You have to be more of a leader. Obviously, point guard in basketball kind of, rolls that, and baseball, you can kind of have whatever, but it's just so important that you have good leadership, from your quarterback. I think it's unfair to, try and draw comparisons between him and Baker. I mean, I think you could make a legitimate argument that Baker Mayfield is a top 3 quarterback of the 21st century in college football. I mean, what he did at Oklahoma was something that we haven't really seen since at the level that he did it and the stats that he put up to that level. And I just think that, you can't make a comparison just based on someone's number and the fact that, what he's done. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next month. But, I hope no Tennessee fans are too let down if it doesn't end up 100% working out. I mean, this was a situation that was kind of a tough hand that was dealt in the spring and going into the fall. I don't think anyone expected it to be 100% correct. So if there's kind of some growing pains early in the season, I just hope Tennessee fans don't start losing their mind on Heupel and saying things about coaching that's just not things that need to be mentioned in the first couple weeks of the season or at all throughout the season.
Absolutely. When we come back, we'll talk about Steve Wiltfong of On3, his new recruiting nuggets on Tennessee. We'll also talk about Tennessee's newest recruit in the 2026 cycle and give you the scoop on what Tennessee is getting with a new top 50-ish recruit here in the 2026 cycle for Josh Heupel's program. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Yeehaw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Hey, this is your boy, Thomas Miles, nephew Tommy. Fellas, let's get real for a second. Erectile dysfunction isn't just physical. It can mess with your head, your confidence, and even your relationship. But guess what? There is hope. Men's Pro Knoxville has helped men right here in our community get their confidence back. They got a team of licensed medical providers who find a way to get results. Powerful, lesser-known treatments for mild to moderate ED could have you performing like you haven't in years, or helping you stay performing. And listen, pills don't work for everybody. Maybe they stopped working or the side effects weren't worth it. Men's Pro Knoxville builds a plan around you. Your consultation is just $99. That includes your blood work, medical consult, and if advised, a test dose. Results? They got an in-house lab, so you'll know where you stand in minutes, not days. So let me ask you, when was the last time you couldn't perform? And how did that make you feel? You deserve better. Call 865-544-8220 or go to menspronknoxville.com today. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Airlines have just reduced their prices even more. Book 30 days in advance and save big.
Want the absolute lowest prices on your airline tickets? Then call the Low Cost Airlines Travel Hotline right now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. The only way to access our low rates and save up to 70% is to call. Save hundreds on your vacation tickets by calling right now. You can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-631-1754. 800-631-1754. 800-631-1754. That's 800-631-1754.
Citizens National Bank.
We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the CNB Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at CNB has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
You're locked onto Fan Run Radio, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and online at fanrunradio.com.
Here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Garrett Armbrust in studio here with us on a Monday. Jay King, Matt Bailey also on the ones and twos. As we continue on with some positive Tennessee recruiting news, Joel Wyatt now at Oakland, formerly at the Webb School for his senior season, the Powerhouse Webb School, or the Powerhouse Oakland School, in Murfreesboro. They are loaded. Dwayne Morris from this past class, running back, he comes from Oakland. Tennessee did not get great Oakland news from Craig Tutt, the 4-star safety from Oakland this summer, but what they did get is a different 4-star safety in Joel Wyatt, who picks the Vols over Vanderbilt, among a couple other ones, but a highly contested in-state battle for a top 50 prospect in the 2026 cycle, here, Garrett. What do you make of Joel Wyatt and his addition here for Tennessee?
Yeah, no, it looks like a good addition. Number 4 athlete and number 58 overall player, 2026, according to Rivals. So he's going to be kind of one of those guys that can be slotted in a lot of different positions. I know, me and Chase before the show were talking about how Joel was wanting to play more of kind of a safety role, something in the secondary. He's 6'4", 190. Obviously, he'll probably put on some weight when he gets here. And me and Chase were just talking about how we thought him coming off the edge or, something in the linebacker room would probably be a better position for him to be and for us to get the most out of him. But I think he's one of those guys you kind of put him anywhere on the field. He's like Boo Carter. You put him anywhere on the field and he's probably going to make plays. And I could see him being an impact player, pretty soon after he gets here. I don't think this is going to be a guy that you have to wait around a long time with. I think he'll be ready to go pretty soon.
Yeah, he's fascinating because in a different era, in the pre-portal era, Joel Wyatt is an obvious tick. He is a super athlete, like you said, number 4 athlete there. He is someone, when you watch his huddle tape, like he flashes. You could see him off the edge. You could see him being someone who gets on the field sooner rather than later for Tennessee off the edge. And that's how Tennessee was recruiting him, right? At the Leo spot. But if he's going to play safety, it's going to be really fascinating to see how that works because in the olden days, you take somebody where Jason Witten develops into a tight end. And we still see that sometimes, like Bryson Eason came in as a linebacker for Tennessee, and now he's he's your starting defensive tackle this year. You had Jeremy Banks, I believe was a high school linebacker. Arian Carter played running back for his first 3 years of high school and then switched over to linebacker his senior year. So there is a lot, especially in the high school ranks, you do play a lot of different positions, but it is vastly different playing SEC quality safety play versus being someone who comes off the edge. And in today's day and age, it's like, if that's what he wants to do, he's going to try and do that. And I think you have to let him try, right? Like, this is the interesting part of all of this, is that if Joel Wyatt's in the boat, you have to assume that Tennessee is going to let Joel Wyatt prove that he can play safety at the next level in the deepest conference in college football. Like, I have no idea which way this is going to go, but you never say no to having more top 50 athletes in your recruiting classes and let them see what happens when they get to campus. He could prove you wrong. He could be a safety by when it's all said and done for Tennessee. And it'd be fascinating in terms of what he might be. I guess you're another Georgia guy, Garrett. Do you remember Thomas Davis back in the day for the Georgia Bulldogs? Heavy hitter.
Yeah, I think it rings a name. It rings a bell.
I think he played linebacker once he got to the Panthers in the NFL.
Yeah.
That might be the path when I was thinking about Joel Wyatt, of like a heavy hitter safety who is in the box a lot, who's not asked to be back there in coverage, just with his size and frame. Maybe that's how you use him, is just one of those heavy hitter, old school safeties, who blitz a lot, who are up the top. Like, that is something I could see. If I'm really thinking about how Joel Wyatt makes this work with his frame and speed at the safety spot for Tennessee, I think it's like going to the school of Thomas Davis.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's asking him to. We're not saying he needs to be an edge and play the same way James Pierce played or anything like that. But I also don't think we want him to be sitting out there, in a corner role where he's just in one-on-one island play the entire time. This seems like a guy, like you said, that they could make a move and play, numerous different positions. It looks like, in high school, he's obviously played wide receiver, DB, he's done a lot of different things. And, him and Legend Bay will both be coming in kind of in the athlete role where they're going to be able to play multiple different positions. So I think that'll be interesting to see, within that class, which one of those two guys where they kind of slot in on the field, especially into, 2027 and 2028.
No, 100%. And Tennessee's got a lot of these guys. Like you mentioned, Legend Bay, who is a great high school quarterback. And he's someone that we'll see how he transitions to, I guess, being a slot, but being kind of an all-purpose guy. Does he get some reps at tailback? They also did that with Cam Seldon, and he's now off to Virginia Tech. But Cam Seldon was a do-it-all player at a small school in Virginia, and they put him at tailback, and it didn't really work out in that way. And I think he's actually playing linebacker, not linebacker, wide receiver for Virginia Tech this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's good. To have a player like that can play multiple different positions, especially in today's age in college football, just being able to do that. Obviously, you've seen the success of what Travis Hunter's done, and you saw, what Boo Carter did this year, where he was, obviously mainly kind of playing on the defense, but he was returning punts, and, he's playing in special teams. And We saw D. Williams return punts, over his time at Tennessee. He was a guy that was ultra athletic. So I think that having a guy that's ultra athletic, plays multiple sports in high school, can play multiple different positions, I think that's extremely beneficial than just having a guy that can only play one position and one position only. Because, having a guy that can adapt to change and be able to be coached in multiple different positions is interesting. The only thing that I do find interesting about stuff like that is just having, so many different coaches that you're learning from at that point. Because, if you play both sides of the ball, and I'm not saying that that's what he's going to do, but, you have the offensive coordinator you're talking to, wide receivers coach, secondary coach, defensive coordinator. Like, you have a lot of different minds and heads telling you, what you need to be doing throughout the game. And I just wonder if sometimes too much coaching can kind of lead a player down the wrong road at a certain point.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's another big win, I think, for Tennessee. It's just you add talent. You accumulate as much talent as you can and then put them in the program and see how it all works out. If it doesn't work out, then Joel Wyatt will transfer. If it does, then you might have a guy who is a different kind of safety that flashes. In Tennessee, you take a chance on talent. And Joel Wyatt is someone you absolutely take a chance on at the safety spot. You get him in the program and you see how it all works. And Tennessee needs depth at safety, Garrett, because they've lost a lot. Jacoby Thomas and Christian Charles from this cycle is out. And I mean, you're at a battle with a true redshirt freshman and Idris Farouk might be starting next to Andre Turntine. Turntine's gone after this season. He'll have exhausted his eligibility, who has started, 16 straight games, I think, for Tennessee at the safety spot. So there's going to be more turnover there. Caleb Beasley going into his redshirt freshman year. I mean, they're just young. They're really young in the back end. By all accounts, you might lose Jermod McCoy. Maybe even Ricky Gibson, if he has a great year. Does he go to the NFL too? I mean, there's going to be a lot of turnover still in the secondary. And it's just a group that's getting younger and younger. And you got to have talent in that back room and see what sticks.
But I think it's important, that the recruits they see, like what Jermod McCoy's done, comes from Oregon State and basically, is developed into a first-round draft pick, So it's like you can do it here, in a couple of years. You can go from – not that he's, an underrated player by any means, 4-star prospect, but it just shows, and it shows you that you can come to Tennessee and be on the defense and be a first-round draft pick, which, 4 or 5 years ago was kind of an afterthought of a player on the defense being, a first-round pick, every season. But it really seems like something over the next couple of years that's really possible. It is really impressive over the past couple of years what the defensive side of the ball's done.
Absolutely. And I'm going to read this from On3, Steve Wiltfong, National Recruiting Insider for On3, in his whip around column this morning. He wrote on the Savion Hyder, the number 1 running back in the class, Tennessee in it deep for Savion Hyder. They don't have a running back committed in this cycle, so they've gone all in on the Savion Hyder sweepstakes out of Virginia. This is what Steve Wiltfong wrote in his piece on On3 this morning. Quote, Michigan has always been one of the top contenders. Tennessee has surged this year. Around Knoxville, they felt very confident at times with Hyder, from the relationship with Coach Darrell Sims to the recent draft picks of Jalen Wright and Dylan Sampson, and SEC Offensive Player of the Year, to going over Josh Heupel's past offensive success throughout his career and the magnitude of the running back in his scheme. The Vols have become a very enticing option. On the flip side, though, he also wrote, with Michigan, Hyder has always been the top overall target, regardless of position. The NFL-style scheme and the way the running back is featured, the long-standing relationship with Tony Alford, and vibe around the program have always been things that have excited him about the program. So it does certainly feel like it's down to Tennessee and Michigan for the number 1 overall running back. But I think I've said it this summer right here on this program, Garrett. To me, it's always felt like Hyder I'd be more surprised if Keys finds his way into the boat than Hyder. They just this to me feels a lot like David Sanders and Ohio State versus Tennessee last cycle. Doesn't it feel the same to you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's definitely a 2-team race. I mean, I've seen, even the other day I saw, Georgia, some Georgia football account basically tweeted out like top running back in the country set to make his commitment date, in regards to Savion Hyder. And basically all the Georgia fans in the comments were like, we have no chance. It's between Tennessee and Michigan. I think pretty much everyone knows it's basically a 2-horse race. Like you said, Sanders and Ohio State, it kind of looked like Ohio State was making that, last second push toward him, and everyone was kind of getting nervous that he might go there. And then he committed here, on the Feinbaum show, and everyone was very relieved that he was coming here. This just seems like a guy that you do not want to miss on. I mean, obviously, we've done, fine in the running back room over the past couple of years without, extremely highly, recruited high school players. And obviously Dylan Sampson was incredible last year. And this year's running back room is going to be a 3-guy deep running back room. Obviously, if Hyder were to come here, it would be kind of more of a guy that you would want to get in the hands. He would be a definite RB1. But this just seems like one of those guys where it would be like, a generational miss if you end up missing on him, because it just seems like everyone's been so high on him. And this is just a guy that you want on your team, you want in your boat, and you do not want to lose him to Michigan. Him and Bryce Underwood in that backfield would be quite a duo.
Yeah, I mean, Alford, if you recall, he's the one who left Ohio State for this job, and he obviously recruited at an elite level at Ohio State, but to flip over to their rival Michigan was just kind of a stunner at the time. But like you said, I mean, it's gonna be really hard to say no, but it was also hard for David Sanders not to say yes to Ohio State. Like Ohio State just won the national title, and Ohio State has more success. I mean, obviously over this century, and saying no to that program, picking Tennessee was huge, but it was also, closer. Like, he was a North Carolina kid, Charlotte kid, so it's a lot easier for family and everything else to get from Charlotte to Knoxville. It's a pretty easy drive. It's a commitment to go from Virginia to Ann Arbor for Hyder. Virginia's not far. Virginia is at the border here with Bristol and company in Tennessee. I imagine it's a lot easier drive for Savion Hyder's family as well. But I mean, Dylan Sampson this week, I saw over there on fanrunradio.com that he's turning heads with the Cleveland Browns. Quinshad Junkins' future up in the air right now. Does Dylan Sampson become a huge early on guy for the Browns? That will help Tennessee. There's been a lot of offseason buzz about Jalen Wright and his increased role with the Dolphins. Like, that should only help Tennessee, right? When you look at how they used Dylan Sampson both at the college level last year and him having the kind of year he did, but also that Sampson and Wright both seem poised for great NFL seasons, which will be great for Tennessee in that regard.
Yeah, and I mean, Tennessee, even in, down years, obviously not in the Heupel coaching staff, but I mean, you go back to 2016 teams. I mean, Alvin Kamara was there, obviously ends up being a great NFL player. So, I mean, there's been very good running backs to come through this program within the past 10 to 15 years. What does scare me is Michigan has kind of had a history of flipping. I know he's not committed, but I mean, Bryce Underwood was committed to LSU for a very long time. Last second late flip to Michigan. Like, it just kind of scares me when a team has a history of doing that. What are they pushing for at the end that's getting these guys to do that? And that's just, as a Tennessee fan, that's something that's scary, that he could come in and maybe get a deeper offer or something from Michigan at the last second. But, we'll see what happens. And, wherever he chooses, we'll wish him the best. But I think if you really want to come here and be an elite running back and be an RB1 in the SEC, this is the spot, as he says, close to home. So love to see it.
Absolutely. When we come back, we'll talk to Michael Borky of Sports Talk Mississippi to talk all things Ole Miss and the Lane Train and where things are headed for the Rebels here in 2025. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Check out our new and improved website at fanrunradio.com.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, 0 carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Only 3 homestands remaining to see your Knoxville Smokies play this season. And next week is full of celebrations, starting with free hot dog night on Tuesday. All the hot dogs you can eat all night long. And if you're still hungry, we've got all you can eat Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday with half off draft beers. Then on Friday, we honor one of the founding members of the Negro Southern League, the Knoxville Giants. On Saturday, we're continuing the fight against breast cancer by painting the park pink. And on Sunday is Cocoa Melon Day. Grab your tickets now at smokiesbaseball.com.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand, We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Is your smile ready for the spotlight? Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco, and at Knoxville Smiles, we make every visit a reason to smile. From routine cleanings to dazzling cosmetic treatments, our experienced team uses the latest technology to keep your teeth healthy and your smile bright. With a warm, welcoming atmosphere and personalized care, we're here to make sure you leave feeling your best. Don't wait. Your perfect smile is just a call away. Book your appointment today at 865-539-1776 or online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Fox Sports Knoxville 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. We got a first timer here from Sports Talk Mississippi, Michael Borky, to talk all things Ole Miss. Michael, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Man, doing well. Appreciate being on.
Thank you for being here. So I am very curious about where Ole Miss ultimately sits here in the SEC in 2025. I think Tennessee and Ole Miss are kind of grouped together. I think you've seen a lot of the same preseason polls where they're a hard team, I think, for SEC pundits and national pundits to kind of figure out where if Austin Simmons hits and the defense is able to build off what they did last year with Pete Golding, then they can be somewhere in that 4 to 6 range in the SEC. And then you could see it not going as well and the transfer stuff not going as well. And Austin Simmons still being young and inexperienced where they're towards the 9 to 12 range. And I just feel like Tennessee and Ole Miss are kind of in the same spot here. Do you?
Yeah, certainly, especially with the uncertainty at quarterback for both. Now, it's a little bit different. Simmons is not a transfer, and his first start will be the first game, so it's a little bit different in Tennessee where it's a guy that has started and played a little bit of college football. But, yeah, there's a lot to like about the potential of this Ole Miss team, and then there's also a couple of questions that if they don't get the right answer, you could have a rather significant step back. And I mean, Lane Kiffin should be given the benefit of the doubt. 39 wins in 4 years is the best 4-year run in the history of Ole Miss football. So he's earned some benefit of the doubt. But, man, there are some questions specifically about the offensive line that if they don't get the right answer, it's going to be a struggle.
So is the offensive line the biggest question for you with Ole Miss in 2025, or is it still quarterback?
It's got to be. I think, honestly, it's offensive line because what's so interesting about Ole Miss over the last 2 years is you would think a Lane Kiffin coached football team, and if you look at the raw numbers offensively, you would think that they were just exceptional on that side of the ball. And frankly, they weren't, especially last year. In their 3 losses, they scored 1 second-half touchdown combined in their 3 losses, and they weren't really good in second halves all season. They beat the brakes off of South Carolina in Columbia, but 3 second-half points is all they scored. They really struggled offensively against Mississippi State, the worst defense, one of the worst defenses in the history of SEC football. They couldn't run the football. They did not do well in pass protection. They were really bad on short yardage, not particularly great in the red zone in specific spots. It's the offense that has been the issue for basically each of the last 2 years. And again, the raw numbers, you would think that they're awesome, but those were largely gained in their 4 non-conference games and then a great day against Arkansas. Otherwise, it's been Pete Golding's side of the ball that's been consistent for 2 years, that's produced well for 2 years. It's on Lane Kiffin to figure it out because it's been his side of the ball that struggled.
Hey, Michael, thanks for coming on. This is Garrett. Looking at the wide receiver room this year, obviously you bring in a lot of transfers with the exception of Caden Lee, obviously returning. But when you look at that transfer group, what guy do you see coming out of that transfer portal in the wide receiver room that makes a big impact? Or is it a guy like Caleb Cunningham that was a super highly touted high school player that also makes, a big step in his college career this year as a freshman?
I wouldn't expect much from Caleb Cunningham. So, it's funny. High school kids are now graduating early, and Caleb Cunningham was a great basketball player as well, and he chose to play his senior year in basketball. He didn't want to leave his team and did not graduate early to finish what he started on the basketball floor as well. So he'll be behind coming in because he didn't go through spring. He just joined the team, I think, a month ago. Winston Watkins, I think, might be the freshman that could play more. But Lane Kiffin does not rotate receivers much. They really only play 3 or 4 guys, or at least they have over the last few years. Very little substituting there. The guy to look for, I think, is DeJon Stribling, the Oklahoma State transfer. They are obsessed with him. I mean, he has stepped in, and they knew that they liked him when they recruited him out of the portal. I don't think they expected him to be as well-rounded as he came in to be. They think that he struggled. He didn't struggle. He caught 800-plus yards worth of passes at Oklahoma State, but it was a product of bad quarterback play. They think that he is supremely talented and just didn't get to show that off because of how bad Oklahoma State was a year ago. That's a guy that he's not a household name at all. There's a chance that he will be because they really, really, really like DeJon Stribling from Oklahoma State.
Were you surprised that Lane, because you talked about like just the struggles offensively the last 2 years, it's just kind of weird because of how good Jackson Dart was at times. And it's like, it's just so bizarre because I think when you were talking about like the last years, I'm telling you, like, it's just kind of like what we've said about Tennessee with Heupel the last 2, where Tim Banks and the defensive side of the ball has just progressively gotten better and better. They were a top 10 scoring defense last year, great in TFLs. James Pierce goes in the first round. You have Omar Norman-Lott going in the second round to the Chiefs. Like, they continue to thrive on the defensive side of the ball. Jermon McCoy being mocked here in the top 15 in the 2026 NFL draft at corner. And you kind of look at the same thing with Ole Miss, where it's a big year for Lane and Charlie Weiss Jr. in that side of the ball. But I mean, to put a lot of faith in Austin Simmons is kind of a bold move from Lane, right? To not go the transfer route to try and jumpstart this thing.
Yeah, to really put a magnifying glass on that. So Jackson Dart in 2022 started a full season. He beat Luke Altmaier, who's now the starter at Illinois, in a competition. And he was the starter for the entire 2022 season. And he wasn't perfect, but he was good. You could see the potential there. And Lane Kiffin went and got, speaking of Oklahoma State, Spencer Sanders, who had started 4 years at Oklahoma State out of the portal because he did not think that they were good enough at quarterback. And this tells you all you need to know about what they think of Austin Simmons. They didn't even really try. They added a couple of transfers. Those are strictly backups. They signed both of them with both players knowing this is not a competition. You are not going to be the starter unless Austin Simmons gets hurt. It's Austin Simmons' football team. That's what they signed up for. And that is very counter to what you expect from Lane Kiffin. They did not try. They truly believe in Austin Simmons. And it's funny, he's a lefty, by the way, so it'll look a little bit different, but they believe in him. I mean, he graduated high school 2 years early. He came to Ole Miss to play baseball as well. And so as what should have been a high school senior, he was pitching in the SEC and doing well. He's really bright and really talented. Now, we'll see what happens when he's starting in a game. You don't know until he actually goes out and proves it. But they didn't try because they think they didn't have to. They believe that the talent now it's a very thin line that you have to tread here. They believe the talent ceiling has increased maybe significantly between Jackson Dart and him. The floor, though, being much lower at the moment. But they do think that they have increased their talent ceiling at quarterback with Austin Simmons. But again, he's got to go prove it. He's inexperienced. But they didn't try in the portal for a reason.
What's the right number for a successful season for Lane Kiffin in 2025?
Ooh, that's a good question because, I mean, he's the guy, and it's to his credit and also to his detriment. He's the guy that in his first season at Ole Miss, when you guys know this, the Matt Luke era was awful. The teams weren't competitive, and there was no life in that program whatsoever. Alabama comes to Oxford, and Ole Miss plays them tough as you know what for 4 quarters, but they lose. And the Ole Miss fans gave their team a standing ovation coming off the field after they lost to Alabama. And Kiffin gets behind the podium. He's like, I don't know what the hell anybody's cheering about. We didn't come here to play close. We came here to win. We came here to win championships. It's what he said. And last year, after they underachieved relative to what their roster should have been, he was, spot the ball. The SEC's so tough. And he was kind of like going back on his, no, close losses don't matter. I'm here to win championships. Like, you shouldn't forgive losses, that kind of stuff. And that narrative changed at the end of last season after they underachieved. I think there's a little bit of pressure on him. Now, is he going to get fired? Of course not. Absolutely not. But Ole Miss now has given him everything that he needs, everything that he's asked for. He's asked for a new facility. He got it. He's asked for more money for players. He got it. He's asked for more resources for off-the-field staff, and he's got it. They are giving him everything that he can ask for. Ole Miss is spending anyway, like a big-time program. They are giving him everything he's asked for. Now it's time to show those results. They gave you a very expensive roster with an elite defense, and you lost 3 games anyway. Can you take this program? You've already taken them to this point, which is a really good point. But can you make that next step? Because in your career as a coach, you haven't taken that next step yet. Kind of time to do it, because the job that he currently has is not an excuse anymore.
All right, Michael, I'm going to ask you, what do you think is the bigger trap game here? Tulane coming to the SIP, where they're going to have, obviously, a Jake Retcalf, a better quarterback than maybe they were expecting to have through camp with Caden Simone's at Tulane, where it was a close game in 2023. Obviously, that game was in New Orleans. This game will be in the SIP, or an Egg Bowl in Starkville this year.
So it's got to be Tulane, because I don't know if you can ever call a rivalry game a trap, especially when you have an off week ahead of time. Although Mississippi State, I mean, you guys know this. I'm sure you covered it. Their outlook is not particularly great.
They need Blake Shapen to be healthy in a bad way.
Oh, no doubt. And I mean, they did okay in the portal, and they need a high hit rate, because the high school recruiting classes going into this year didn't really leave them much. But they haven't performed well in the Egg Bowl in each of the last 2 years. Now, they've won both games, but much closer than they should have been, considering how good Ole Miss was versus how good State was going into that game. Tulane is a major trap game for this team. I'm so curious about that game, and frankly kind of excited about it, because John Summerall is a heck of a coach. I think everybody in the SEC wants him to stay at Tulane forever, because he's going to get an SEC job one day, and he's going to be great at whatever job it is, probably Kentucky. But that is right before LSU. So play this out for a second. Let's pretend that Ole Miss is 4-0. They're favored to be 4-0 going into that LSU game. If you get past Arkansas and you've won all 3 games, everything around that football team is going to be pointing to LSU. Everything, it's college game day coming. Oh my gosh, LSU's going to be in the top 5, and you're going to be in the top 10. And it's a huge rivalry in the state of Mississippi. People are obsessed with beating LSU here. And it will be so easy for 18 to 22-year-old human beings to possibly look over Tulane as everybody around them is talking about LSU. So that's going to be a real mental check for that team and its leadership and coaching as well, to get them to lock in, because this Tulane team can absolutely beat you if you're not playing your best or if you're distracted. But man, LSU the week after can be very distracting if Ole Miss goes into that game undefeated.
I'll get you out on this, Michael. So I love the Egg Bowl. I grew up on the Egg Bowl. I am just irrationally angry at the Egg Bowl getting moved to Black Friday during the day. What has been the fan reaction? Because there was nothing nicer on Thursday night than just, wrapping up a great Thanksgiving with Ole Miss and Mississippi State on the TV on Thursday night. It was a perfect time at a perfect spot. Why did they take this from us, Michael? And do the fans feel the same?
The fans actually like it, because, I mean, you know this, rivalries, especially in-state rivalries, can ruin a holiday. And most people just want their holiday to be nice and pleasant before the misery of the Egg Bowl. But, everybody seems to be pretty satisfied with it, because when it was on Thanksgiving, initially, there was no third NFL game.
Yeah.
And so the TV exposure was really, really good. Now that the NFL has decided to add that third game, I mean, more people watched Ole Miss play Kentucky last year than the previous Egg Bowl. I mean, it's just the national attention wasn't there anymore because the NFL, for better or for worse, if you have to compete against the NFL, you're going to lose. And the Egg Bowl was losing. So it was already on a holiday, and people were kind of uncomfortable with that just because it could ruin an otherwise celebratory day.
Or it's a great ending, right? Like half the fan bases are loving it. It's a great day altogether.
What's funny is most people are just relieved when they win. It's not even a celebration. It's like, oh, thank God. I'm so glad that this is over with the win. Yeah. But people seem to like it. It's better for exposure. I mean, the TV number was double the year before last year, and that was a bad state team, and people get their Thanksgiving back. So I hear you, though. I mean, that, like, college football fans that don't really care about the NFL loved Thanksgiving Egg Bowl.
Yes.
Absolutely loved it. But the schools themselves wanted it to be on Friday so they could get a little bit more exposure.
Michael, what can you plug as we get you out of here at the top of hour number 1?
Yeah, well, Sports Talk Mississippi, if wherever you get your podcast, we upload it for you every day. And then my name, @Michael Borky on Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. And you can find me there. Thanks, guys.
Michael, great stuff on all things Ole Miss. We greatly appreciate the time. We'll have to check back in again soon.
Anytime, man.
Thanks, Michael.
Michael Borky of Sports Talk Mississippi. Great stuff from Michael. I'm kind of in the same boat when it comes to Ole Miss, and it's quietly a big year. I mean, I don't think people realize just how good of a run Lane's on the last 4 years as a whole. But I mean, it's just really bizarre because, they crush Georgia in a way that nobody's been able to crush Kirby Smart. Like, they pulverized Georgia in the SIP last year. And then they lose at home to Kentucky on a 4th and whatever to Vandergriff and company, and they just completely blow it. But I'll maintain, if you were to tell me who the best overall team in 2024 was in the SEC, I still would probably have picked Ole Miss as the highest ceiling.
Yeah, and they got a schedule this year where, honestly, I think it sets up pretty good for them. I mean, obviously, as he said, if they beat Tulane, they're 4-0. The LSU game is at home. They play kind of another odd out-of-conference game against Wazoo, also at home. The Ole Miss Georgia game is in Athens. I think you could kind of pencil that in as a loss, whether it's home or away. The Oklahoma game being away, that'll be a tough game, but then they also get South Carolina and Florida at home. So to me, it seems like they honestly have a schedule that's pretty manageable with where they play their home games. And the away game against Georgia, like I said, I mean, I feel like that's a game that, obviously within the program, they don't expect to lose it. But I think as a college football fan, you would expect Ole Miss to probably lose that game either way. So, yeah, I think this is another year where it's kind of, even with a new quarterback, it honestly feels like it's still college football playoff or bust for them.
When we come back, we'll be joined by Dalton Catamounts head football coach Chris Britt over there in Ringgold, Dalton, Georgia, to talk about his new program, formerly of Roswell, big-time winner in the state of Georgia. So I'm excited to reconnect with Chris and get an update on year 1 with the Catamounts. So stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox, Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Sick of Googling the best bets for tonight and coming up short? Tap into the slate presented by VIP Play, East Tennessee's only on-air gambling show. I'm William Pattison, and every weekday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm giving you sharp analysis, trends, and picks for college football, the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. If it's on the books, we've got you covered. It's the slate presented by VIP Play, weekdays at 6 on Fan Run Radio.
Every 40 seconds, a child goes missing somewhere in the U.S. You can help in the effort to find missing kids simply by donating your car or boat to Find the Children, a nonprofit organization dedicated to returning missing children to their families. Find the Children works closely with national and community agencies and organizations and helps distribute flyers and posters that are directly responsible for recovering missing kids. Your car or boat donation helps protect and recover children in every state and community by sponsoring child safety and recovery programs. For fast, free pickup, call anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Running or not, your car, truck, van, RV, or boat will be towed away free of charge. Fast, free pickup, plus it's tax deductible. Everyone wins when you donate your car or boat to Find the Children.
Call right now. 800-466-8813. 800-466-8813. That's 800-466-8813.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
It's the chase. It's the chase. Live 1 to 3, Monday through Friday on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. Listen to Chase and his friends on WKG. It's the chase. It's the Scruffy City. Listen to his friends, and his friends are on WKGN. I'm always taking your calls on the Tennessee Vols. It's the chase. It's the chase. It's the chase.
It's the chase, kicking off hour number 2 right here in the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios in beautiful East Tennessee. Garrett Armbrust in studio with us here on a Monday. And on the line right now, old friend, formerly of Roswell, now over there with Dalton and the Catamounts in Ringgold, Dalton, Georgia, right here on the Georgia-Tennessee line. He is on the SM Athletics hotline for this segment presented by SM Athletic, where you can get all kinds of great high-quality custom athletic uniforms, unparalleled customer service, and reliable products tailored to your specific requirements. Visit smathletics.com or call them today at 865-966-3434 to discover the next generation of athletic wear and experience the difference for yourself. Chris, good afternoon, my friend. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'm just doing good, trying to avoid some of the heat today, but I don't think I can avoid all of it. So just trying to get a little practice in today and then kick the week off in the right step.
Yeah, I think we're in for a lot of thunderstorms and then back to the crazy heat and a lot of humidity this week, I think, Chris.
Yeah, no doubt. It'll be a challenging week as far as trying to get some good practice in. But like I usually tell our teams, luckily everybody's got the same problems we do right now. It's hot for everybody, so we're gonna have to find a way to push through a little adversity and get some things accomplished this week.
So how has the offseason gone for you? Are you acclimated to going from Roswell to Dalton?
It's been a fun off season. It's definitely been a little bit different. Obviously, leaving the Atlanta metro area and going a little bit slower life, which was kind of what me and my family needed, and kind of probably a good move for us. And trying to get all the ins and outs of things kind of set up and figured out. But it's been good. It's been a smooth transition. Summer went well. I was lucky to get here in January, so summer was good. Off season was good. It's just obviously trying to figure out everything and obviously get the boat turned around in the right direction and get it back to where things need to be.
Are you going to be able to look at this year as a year one where your installs are all in where you want to be offensively, defensively, or is this going to be kind of a year zero type deal where you're able to get some of your installs and what you want to do, but still you're probably a year away from being having everything look the way you want it to look?
I mean, that's a great question. To be honest, I think we'll have a majority of our stuff that we want to do in. It's obviously the learning curve when you take over something new, and there's a lot of things that you definitely think about from a holistic standpoint of the program and how do you want to do certain things. And I think that's been the biggest change, I guess, is probably just kind of the day-to-day operations. I think we've got a lot of our stuff in offensively and defensively, and changing culture takes time, and changing culture and changing expectations could take years, and it'll take classes to do that. But I think from where we were at when I got here in January to now is night and day difference, and it's been fun. And our classes, our seniors and juniors, and we have a big sophomore class, and our rising freshmen are kind of all just kind of embracing the new way of doing things, and trying to get to that standard each and every day. And I think they're doing a really good job, and it's been good to see them grow from the 6-7 months I've been here. So it'll be good. I think we'll have everything we want to have in, and obviously we have a tough challenge with a tough schedule. And obviously, if you go have a season the year before where 0-10 is the final result, you got a lot of things to work on, a lot of things to do. So just trying to get those things little by little along the way, and like I said earlier, kind of get this thing back turned the right direction.
Isn't it kind of rejuvenating, though, as a big-time high school football coach here in the South, Chris, of just you saw what you were able to build over many years at Roswell and turn that into the juggernaut that it could be, and now you're starting from I don't want to say scratch, but like you're starting, like you said, 0-10 last year, but obviously a program that has a great history and high expectations as well. Isn't that kind of just like, man, this is fun? Like I imagine you feel a little bit rejuvenated here.
Oh, without a doubt. It's to your point. There's things that you take for granted sometimes when I got to Roswell in 2017. There was already kind of a little bit of a foundation set, and we came in and had to change some things, but it was a lot more like fine tuning some things, and we didn't necessarily have to set the expectations from kind of the ground up. Each year is different in that aspect, but coming here, seeing kind of the lay of the land when I got here, in January, I think I was fortunate enough. I basically kind of sat back and just observed for a month, tried to build relationships with kids and try to figure out the lay of the land, like I kind of mentioned earlier, and just see where we needed to improve, see where it could be a minor change, it could be a big change, it could seem like a big change to some people, but in my eyes it was a small one. Just little things like that along the way. I think for all intents and purposes, like it was a smooth way of getting in here, but I think to your point, like it's definitely refreshing, and to try to attack a new challenge, because we had a lot of success at Roswell, and we had a good 5 years, I think, where I was the head coach. And even when I was a defensive coordinator for the 3 that I was there, I mean, our last 2 classes won 41 and 42 games in their 4 years. So those are the expectations that I kind of came in here to Dalton with. And, I've already kind of laid out the plan and laid out what we're going to be able to accomplish, and, just needs to continue to fight for that culture each and every day and fight for those standards every day. And I think our kids are getting there, and they're getting to that point where they're fighting for it, day in and day out.
Chris Pruitt is our guest here on the SM Athletics sponsored segment right here on the Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. Garrett, you got a question for Chris?
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Coach. I was just kind of wondering, what's the position battle that you have kind of circled that you're excited to see come to fruition before the fall season starts? And how much do you think the competition within the players builds the culture and helps them get better before the season begins?
When I came in here, obviously, when I walked in the door, there's a couple of guys that kind of stood out. And to me, the ones that usually don't stand out and the ones that usually are kind of in the foreground or the background, if you will, they're usually the quiet ones. They're usually the ones that don't really complain. They don't really say anything. But both sides of the line of scrimmage, to me, are kind of the most important when you're talking about a battle and trying to position guys in the right spot and position guys in the right setting. We ended up last year, I think at the last game of the year, we started 10 freshmen in our last game. So to say we're young is kind of like an obvious understatement. But a lot of those positions, both sides of the ball, we played guys that are coming back. And that to me has been the 2 funnest groups to watch. If you watch a football game, the O-line's kind of the biggest group you got. That's one position. So I always look there and say, who's the leader of that group? Who's going to be the guys that are going to set the tone for that group? And I think, we've got a good group of guys there that have played a little bit of football. It's a nice mixture. You got guys that have played. You got some guys that haven't played. You got some guys that definitely have the talent. We were in a wing T offense last year for the start of the season and kind of moved around a couple different things and coming more to a open spread offense now. Allowed us to kind of figure out what some of our guys do really well and some of our guys aren't. I mean, we're moving guys constantly just to see and tinker. And like we kind of told them, it's a 1,000-piece puzzle that no one really has the final answer to. And we're trying to put it all together and get it perfect and get it just right. So that way, once we play in August, we're firing all cylinders and everything looks the way it should. But that process takes time. That process takes, unfortunately takes physical reps, mental reps, and takes some encouraging and takes some coaching along the way to get there. But both sides of the ball are looking really well. And I think if I had a big takeaway from my time at Roswell, that was the difference come later in the year was when our line of scrimmage played really well, we were really good. All right. And it sounds super obvious, but that's where
that you're just really excited to play this fall, that you're just amped up for?
I think I had an event the other night with some parents, and that was one of the questions. And I said, I think I've got 2 different minds about it. Like my competitive side of me, my actual football competitor. Like we play the defending state champs in North Oconee in week 2. And then we play a team that was in the quarters or semifinals pretty much every year in Cartersville, week 4. So the competitive side of me wants to say those 2, but to be honest, I think the one I'm looking forward to the most is our first home game. There's been so much about how obviously this program playing 100 years has had a lot of success and has been really, really successful kind of throughout decades, throughout different coaches, throughout players. And to see a home game here is kind of something I'm excited about. And I'm excited to see the atmosphere, obviously, see the town come out and support this team. I think it's going to be a good time, and it's against one of our in-county rivals, Northwest Whitfield. So I think that'll be a fun, not only a fun atmosphere, but a fun game. And obviously, for me personally, being just the first time I've been able to see a game at that stadium at Harmon Field, I think will be a really cool atmosphere and a really cool environment for our kids.
Well, how do all the Catamount fans support everything Dalton football here as fall camp is well underway and the season will be here before you know it? What can the good folks look out for from you?
I think our team. I hope it's a program and a group that plays with just relentless effort and plays until the last very, very second that we can. We had a saying at Roswell, and it's something we've already talked about here, is like, if we got 1 second, there's a shot that we can find a way to win the game. And again, it's when you say that to a team that was 0-10, it's kind of hard to understand it and digest that. But we hope we play hard. We hope we play with a lot of excitement, and we hope it's an exciting brand of football to watch. I think we're gonna have a lot of success. And I've told everybody along the way, like, I didn't come here thinking we were going to be 10-0 or anything like that, but I think we're going to have, obviously a very successful year. And again, it's a year to build. We still have a lot of young kids. I think we have a group of, or when I got here, we had a group of 8 seniors. We're up to about 16 seniors. So we still got a young group on our team, and it'll be fun to watch them grow throughout the year and continue to get better.
I love it. Well, Chris, I wish you nothing but the best and good luck this season. And we'll have to circle back when things get started here this fall.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you guys so much.
Chris Pruitt, head football coach of the Dalton Catamounts over there at the Tennessee-Georgia border, a big-time program over the years. But he's revitalizing what could be another sleeping giant right there at the border. So, Chris, all kinds of great success over there at Roswell for many years. So I appreciate him spending part of his day here, and appreciate SM Athletics for sponsoring that portion of our conversation. Make sure you go visit smathletics.com today for all of your apparel and athletics needs. Make sure you can check them out, smathletics.com, and call them at 865-966-3434 today for some custom athletic uniforms and all of that good stuff. So when we come back, we will talk Tennessee offense. What happens to the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball if things don't go right for the third straight year through the air? We'll talk about it next, right here on the Chase Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
Yo, what is up with it, homies? Talk sports. That's the show you want. It's the longest running sports radio morning show in town. You want your radio shows to be fun, and that's what Talk Sports is. Fun. No weirdo callers. I think Tennessee gonna go 6-6 this year. No nerdy guests. Well, their receiver depth is a little bit thin. Just two of the most entertaining guys in town, and Bubba giving you what you need. Tune in 7 to 10 a.m. every weekday here on Fan Run Radio.
Knoxville, mark your calendars. Fan Run Night at the ballpark is back. Join us Wednesday, August 6th at Covenant Health Park as the Knoxville Smokies take on Biloxi and we take over the stands. It's all you can eat night, so make sure to bring your appetite. Plus, we're hooking up the fans with exclusive Fan Run swag giveaways you won't want to miss. Come hang with the Fan Run crew, rep your team, and enjoy a summer night of baseball, food, and fun. Fan Run Night, August 6th. Be there.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Thank you again to Chris Pruitt for joining us here at the top of hour number 2, head football coach over there at Dalton. Make sure you go check out the Catamounts for all the local Dalton, Georgia listeners here as we continue on here on the Chase on a Monday. Now suddenly gloomy when you look outside the window. It looks like another storm is coming with these pop showers, but there might be a storm coming for Tennessee's offense in year 3, or the 3rd straight year for Josh Heupel's team. Garrett, this is something I've been thinking about a lot this offseason. I think it's not a coincidence that Seth Littrell is coming in as a senior offensive analyst, right? Like, he was the OC calling plays for Oklahoma last year, long time Heupel guy. They played together on the national champion Oklahoma team in 2000. A strong history there, going back 20 plus years. We'll see how much of his fingerprints are all over Tennessee's offense this year and what kind of role he has. Because I think what makes it interesting, because I think a lot of people have looked at, if things don't go right offensively this year, that Halsley's kind of the fall guy, is offensive coordinator. Fans have very much missed Alex Golesh for the last 2 years. A lot of folks equating Tennessee's drop off in their tempo and passing issues the last 2 years to Golesh leaving to become the head football coach at South Florida. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it than just Golesh, but there is no question that they have missed Alex Golesh. I mean, he was calling plays in 2022, the #1 scoring offense in college football, and that did work. And it felt like he was a good yang to Heupel's yang, where Heupel is a player's coach, nice guy, and Golesh was more of like the stern offensive coordinator and the no nonsense type of guy. So it meshed well. And I think Halsley is a super nice guy. So I think on this side of things, it's just funny when you look at the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball for Tennessee, because the offensive side of the ball, I think they have one guy over 40. When you look at all the different position coaches, I think it's just Glenn Ellerby, if I'm not mistaken, with Kelsey Pubbett, wide receivers coach, Darrell Sims at running backs coach, Joey Halsley as QB coach, and Alec Ablin as tight end coach. I'm pretty sure the only over 40 coach there is Glenn Ellerby. But then on defense, you have Rodney Garner, you have William Inge, you have Willie Martinez, you have Tim Banks, all over 40, all vets in this industry. And then what does he go out and do? Tim Banks, that is. He goes out and hires Alan Williams, longtime NFL DC. You bring in Marion House to help along the defensive line, to Marion Hobby, to help along the defensive line in that front. Like, it's just a loaded group on the defensive side of the ball for Tennessee. Offense, it's green. It's very young. It's very there's some good recruiters there, like Kelsey Pope, obviously a great recruiter. Joey Halsley is a great QB coach and recruiter, but it has not been smooth sailing calling plays offensively the last 2 years. And I think there was a lot of pressure before Nico departed that this was kind of maybe not a make or break it year, but a year where, like, you have to show that this offense, specifically the passing game, can get back on track, because you have 2 straight seasons of below average passing offenses at Tennessee and 2 different quarterbacks. And now you're going to have 3 different quarterbacks in 3 years. It's obviously not an ideal situation for this staff, but Garrett, I kind of look at this with Seth looming in the background. I don't know what to make of this, but I think this is quietly a big year for Joey, because Seth is looming, and I don't know if Seth will end up being the OC sooner rather than later, but it's all or nothing, I feel like, for Joey to establish himself as a guy who can get the quarterback situation right and get the passing game back on track in 25.
Yeah, I just, obviously nothing new that we've talked about, but, the quarterback play obviously is going to be at the center of this discussion. If you want to have an elite offense, you go back and look at 2022. Hendon Hooker was potentially the best quarterback in the country that year. I mean, I think people just need to remember how generational of a wide receiver Jalen Hyatt was that year. I mean, that is incredibly difficult to represent, to have another wide receiver of that talent level for probably the next 20 years. You may never have a wide receiver that puts up stats like that ever again in a season in the near future. But yeah, it is interesting kind of what you said about the offense, with so many young guys on the coaching staff over there. I don't look at that as necessarily something that's overly concerning. I mean, I look at, a guy that I think is one of the best coordinators and now head coaches in the country was, not coach in the country yet, but one of the best coordinators in the country was the Texas Tech OC, Zach Kittley. He's very young, in his 30s, and has got a head coaching job. Mac Leftwich, young guy that was at Texas State, goes over to Texas Tech. So, I mean, I think you can see young coordinators on the offensive side of the ball, still be able to, relay information in the correct way and be able to do that. Obviously, Alex Golesh, like you said, kind of ran, a different offense in 2022. It was such a high level, high paced offense where there was so many moving parts, and it just felt like every drive you were going to score a touchdown. And then over the past couple of years, it felt like, heck, if you scored a touchdown in the first, half, you were looking pretty good. It just came out so slow the past couple of years. And I think that's something that, we really need to come out this year firing and being able to score on the opening drive more often, score in the first quarter more often, because when you don't score in the first quarter, you get behind the 8 ball. And especially if your defense gives up a touchdown in the first quarter and you're down 7-0, 10-0, 10-3, 7-3, whatever it may be, it's just tough to come back from that, especially on the road. And I think you look at last year, you scored first against Georgia. Obviously the defense, didn't play their best, and Georgia was obviously the better team there, and Georgia kind of runs away with that game. But when Tennessee went down the field and scored on that opening drive, there was just so much excitement. You really felt like you were in the game, instead of playing behind. So I think that's something that's very important this year. You obviously have the skill position players to be able to score. I mean, you have so many high-level guys in the receiving room, Mike Matthews, Brazel, there's just so many guys that you can throw to, Braylon Staley. I mean, there's just so many guys that can get the ball, and if you get the ball in their hands, they can be playmakers. And it's just going to be interesting to see if that can come to fruition this year, or like you said, if it's another season like the past 2 seasons, where do you go from there?
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I don't want to say that you give Heupel a pass this year. I think that, but I think that some people will if the offense doesn't look up, because I think that with the whole situation with Nico, you're really looking forward before the whole thing with Nico happened. You're really looking forward. Okay, we got a quarterback in his 2nd year here. We're developing these guys. The offense should be back. But I don't think that we should give Heupel a pass. I mean, like you said, we've had different quarterbacks every year for the past 3-4 seasons even. And I think there's so much talent that stayed, and that there's so much talent still on this team, that you can't really give him a pass, because I think he's just I don't think that the offense will take as big of a step back as some people think, in my personal opinion. I think that Heupel's a really good scheme guy who will put his players in the best position. Everybody says it's a quarterback-friendly offense and all those other gimmicks that they call it. But I just think that that we'll be in a good position this year.
Does Tim Banks in most Monday morning meeting rooms, does he just walk in just the coach's office like Mark Wahlberg in The Departed, where he's like, I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Is that what they do every Monday the last 2 years? I just imagine that's what's happening here with the defensive side of the ball, where they're just like, yeah, we're the guys who do our jobs every week. You guys must be the other guys. What do you got, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, what y'all were saying is like, I don't know. I feel like Joey Halzle will probably be the scapegoat if the offense doesn't end up becoming the way it is this year. Because that's kind of how I felt last year. I kind of felt like Joey Halzle was the one that was keeping the slack, or making the offense struggle. And it's just one of those things where it's like, the offense was amazing under Alex Golesh. Second he leaves, it takes an immediate step back. So I'm obviously not going to put the blame on Heupel by any means or at least I'm not going to call for Heupel's job or anything like that, even if he does struggle with the offense, until Tennessee starts losing consistently. But
it's definitely not Heupel. It's just Heupel is safe. Like, let's be perfectly clear. Heupel has won 30 games in his last 3 years. Like, Heupel, if you were in a 12-team playoff in 2022, he's made the playoffs half in his career.
If you're saying that, if you're calling for Heupel's head, like, I don't even have any interest in talking to you.
Correct.
Now, could you, like you said, does he not need to be resistant? If change needs to happen, does he need to be able to do that? And if he wasn't, if he didn't do that, is that, criticism that you can have? 100%. But I mean, there's always criticism you can have with the head coach. Tony Vitello, in my opinion, is the best coach in America. And we have criticism with him of, he shouldn't have taken a pitcher out of the game there or something. The coaches are always smarter than the fans, though. That's what it boils down to. The coach is always smarter than the person watching on their couch.
And that's the main criticism that I had with Mike Vrabel when he was on the Titans. He refused to fire his coordinators that were just completely incompetent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Now, not to the degree that Vrabel was, Heupel is right now, but I don't know.
No, I mean, I think that's fair. I just think it's one of those where you lose the benefit of the doubt in terms of being able to protect your guys, right? Like, Heupel's never fired his. I mean, that's a real cool thing that Heupel is very protective of his guys. He's very loyal. Like, that is a positive trait of Josh Heupel's. But this is still an ultimate, like, hey, man, we're spending a lot of money on this offense. We're spending a lot of money and investment in big time offensive pieces. Like, we might even, you might see Savion Hyder in here. You might see Tristan Keys. You see Mike Matthews as a 5-star outside guy. You see Travis Smith Jr. in the boat. You see Ethan Davis. You see Deshaun Brame. You see Jack Van Dorselaer. You see Lance Hurd. Like, we're investing. It's not that you have to be the number one scoring offense again in the country like you were in 2022 and the tempo just being as devastating as it was for opposing defenses. But, you can't be in the 90s in passing in conference play like you were a year ago. I think Tennessee was 94th in among all teams in conference play throwing the football. That cannot happen. You can't get shut out for a month straight in the first half. You cannot put so much stress on your defense year over year when you are the offensive guy. So for me, it's just Heupel is safe, but in terms of you might have to make a hard decision. But I don't even think it's just Seth Luttrell. I think he's this offensive guy. You brought up Zach Kittley. I love Jake Spavital at Baylor. He has been rolling, and he had a great year with Sawyer Robertson. He's gotten Dave Aranda back on track. And for me, I think that's really where it goes. It's Tennessee's got the resources. Heupel, I understand, is he's very protective of his offense, but it's at the end of the day, man, if you have the means to go out and upgrade, what would Tony Vitello do if he was struggling offensively, throwing the football for 2 years? If he was the coach, he would go out and find the best offensive coordinator he can find who could fix his passing game. So he would go out and get more. Tony Vitello stacks his assistant coaches. Rick Barnes stacks his assistant coaches. Heupel would have to do the same. And I understand it's different, but that's what Tim Banks does. Tim Banks goes out and he continues to upgrade. If Robert Ayers leaves or if Mike Eckler leaves, guess what? I'm upgrading to my best recruiter and outside linebacker coach, Coach Chop, and he is just picking up right where he left off. I am going to add Marion Hobby, a UT legend and a guy who coached Clemson on their national title team on the defensive line. I'm going to go out and get Alan Williams, who was a Chicago Bears DC not long ago, and add him into my room. I'm going to go get William Inge to replace Brian Jean-Marie, who left for Michigan. And that looks like it may have been even an upgrade with how William Inge is recruiting and developing at this point. So for me, I just think if Banks is going to go that route on the defensive side of the ball, Heupel, if the passing game is just not back, I don't see how you can spin it. You made this point. It's 4 quarterbacks in 4 years. And the Hendon Hooker hair is getting further and further from memory. And if the passing game is rough, again, I understand the circumstances are not ideal with Nico leaving when he did, but man, I mean, you're in the blue chip ratio now. You are in big boy football. And if you want to make that next step, you've got to bring in other voices. You got to bring in other people who are going to help fix what is clearly a problem if you have 3 of 5 years of below average passing attack at Tennessee. I think that's fair.
Yeah. And I mean, you see a lot of teams, probably more on the air raid offense, or I'm looking at a TCU team, but they've gone through, a handful of different quarterbacks in the past couple of years. Josh Hoover, obviously they made it, a national championship appearance, a couple of years back without him. And the offense has kind of stayed pretty, the offense last year is one of the best in the country, so saying, oh, well, you brought in a different quarterback. I don't know how you can't really say that, because every team's bringing in different quarterbacks every year. You're probably not going to get your starter to play at any school more than 2 years. So especially if they're an NFL style quarterback. So, I mean, you just have to be able to adapt to change and be able to, whether you have a new quarterback or not, be able to, produce points and And like I said, you have to score in the first quarter. Like that's just been the problem. Like they just can't score early enough in the game, and they're just putting so much pressure on their defense. And like you said, like you can go hire like outside house. Like, not every hire needs to be within the program. Like go out and get someone that's been a proven Big 12 coordinator. Go out and get someone that's been a proven ACC coordinator. Like you just got to go out and get somebody, if it doesn't work this year, that's had success, because, you know, the same. What if your defense doesn't show up one year? Then you're looking at a team that could go 6-6. You know, if this team doesn't have a defense last year, I mean, what did they look like? Or if they, especially 2023, if this team didn't have a defense, what do they look like? So, I mean, those are just things to think about.
No, 100%. And I also wonder too, because you have this situation in 25 potentially with Faison coming in, and Joey's a QB coach. So maybe Landry Jones, who's now in the fold, Mackenzie Milton out, Landry Jones in. Maybe he could potentially slide in at QB coach if Halsley is not the OC/QB coach next year. But Seth Luttrell has never coached quarterbacks. So if you brought in Seth Luttrell and he took over as offensive coordinator, you'd still need a quarterback coach. And Halsley, to this point, maybe his best thing is like he's accumulated a bunch of talent at quarterback. And I think he deserves credit for what he helped develop Hendon Hooker into as quarterback coach at that time. It's just someone's going to be the fall guy. I just feel like if the offense sputters in terms of just what this passing attack looks like for 3 straight years, I just don't think there's a way to spin that for over half of your tenure at Tennessee, to have rough passing offenses and to see so many different types of quarterbacks, whether that's Milton, whether that's Nico, whether that's Hendon Hooker, whether that's Joey Aguilar or Jake Merklinger this year. But you also have to be careful because he, like Faison Brandon, like he's recruited really well. George McIntyre, Faison Brandon, Jake Merklinger. You brought in so many guys that clearly Halsley is good at the recruiting part of this, but I don't know. I don't know if you can sell him being your play caller in 2026 if you have another issue. Would he take just you're still around as like a co-OC, right, but you're just not calling plays anymore?
Especially when you have, I mean, we talked about it, especially this isn't like a team that has, it's not like you don't have playmakers and you're like, well, we don't really have a wide receiver room. Like, no, like you have very talented wide receivers. Like I said, you have Braylon Staley, you have Brazel, you have, you know, maybe Boo Carter playing a little bit on the offense this season. You have Mike Matthews. You went out and got Jefferson from Alabama. Like you have guys that can make plays. You just got to get the ball like in their hands and let them do what they can do.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this all unfolds. Let's do a rapid fire around the room here as we wrap up. Joey Halsley, is he back in 2026 as Tennessee's quarterback coach and offensive coordinator based on where you think this offense is going in 2025? Let's start you, Jay.
No.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
I don't think so either. No.
Are you on the same boat,
Garrett? I don't know. I'm gonna say he will be.
I think my gut is I think they're going to thread the needle where he'll be back if they have a bad passing year, but he's going to lose play calling privileges. And it's going to be like a Brian Hartline situation. Do you remember at Ohio State where he was quote unquote the offensive coordinator and he was kind of like they wanted to, because he's their best recruiter at wide receiver, obviously. And now he's gotten back play calling privileges this year, but you kind of had to, You can't lose Brian Hartline if you're Ohio State just because of how good he is. And I wonder with Halsley, it's like, I don't really want to lose him in our room and how good a relationship he has with our quarterbacks and recruits on that front. My guess is he, quote unquote, is back, but I don't think he's the main play caller is my guess.
Do you think Hypo would ever lean into calling plays with the offensive mind? I mean, he's been an OC before.
I think he's been calling plays last year, right? Like, I think it just seems like it's been mostly Hypo since Golish left.
Right. But I'm saying, do you think that's a situation where it's like he's like a head coach / offensive coordinator, where you see that within some, teams where it's like they just kind of do both? And, you might have another co-offensive coordinator, but it's like,
I mean, I hope not, because that's not successful in today's game. There's just too many other things. I mean, you look at last year. Denbrock coached OC, was the OC for Notre Dame, and he was calling plays. And Chip Kelly, the best Ryan Day year was when Ryan Day gave up play calling privileges and let Chip Kelly cook. Like, I think it's just too hard to do both in today's day and age. I mean, Sark does it, but even still, Sark hasn't gotten through. I mean, Georgia with Kirby, like it's always been Monken and then Bobo. And I just think it's hard to expect head coaches and championship head coaches to call plays and also be the head coach.
Yeah,
so I hope not.
No, I mean, I agree. I was just wondering, what you thought, like, what the options would be if, you decide to go in a different direction. I mean, obviously, we're a year out from knowing anything, and, who knows? I mean, the offense could come out this year, and like we said, I mean, who knows? Joey Aguilar, Merklinger could lead this to be the best offense since we've had since 2022. I mean, we don't know right now, and we haven't really seen these guys. We haven't seen too much video of them in practice yet. I mean, they haven't even really started getting into it yet. So, I mean, we're really not going to know anything, I think, until a couple weeks out from the Syracuse game.
This week, though, fall camp, we're going to start hearing developments and seeing developments. I can't wait for the videos on all the different team coverages of just like how folks are looking and all that kind of stuff. I'm ready to lock into Tyree Weathersby, potentially strong side defensive end number 2. Yeah, I'm ready for fall camp. When we come back, we'll wrap up with some Happy Gilmore 2 talk and some more off-topic comedy movie talk here on The Chase. We wrap up here on a Monday right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues. Every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires, just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you've actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth only drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the triple wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw premium vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw premium vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the volunteer state. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
The Fast and the Furious series will not count as comedy movie sequels. There is comedy. I laugh sometimes depending on which movie we're talking about here. Tyrese is always pretty funny in the Fast and Furious movies. Vin Diesel's not really the funniest guy. He's not really cracking jokes in the series, but you get some laughs. in the Fast and Furious movies. But I love that song. It always gets me fired up. We had Levels playing here today. We have the Fast and the Furious song there from Fast 5. It's a good time.
Did you put in new songs there?
We did. We have a couple new songs this week. We got a couple ones. So we're gonna slowly start adding some more rotation here in the new song department. We also have a new outro that we're gonna drop here at the end today as well, but we'll get there. We still have a little ways to go.
I was gonna add in some of the new ones, but I was like, I gotta throw in the Denzel Kuduro there.
Yeah, you gotta let's not go through all of them here in day number 1. We can gradually get there. We'll start spread. We'll mix them around. So yeah, I hope good folks noticed that we do have some different bumpers here.
I was missing some Outcast today though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be back. Maybe
All right.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be back. It's still in the rotation, but not here today. But we're talking comedy movie sequels because I think the big talk this weekend, to put a bow on this edition of The Chase here on a Monday, is comedy sequels. Happy Gilmore 2 comes out. I will be completely transparent. My wife and I did not get to Happy Gilmore 2 this weekend, so I don't have a strong take. I've seen a lot of strong takes all over the place this weekend where some people really liked it. Some people really did not like it. Some people were like, it was a fine way to spend an hour and a half. I told Garrett when we were on break here before we got on, I felt like you were a lock that you saw Happy Gilmore 2 this weekend. Is that correct?
Well, I am a very big Adam Sandler fan personally, but
Garrett, I'm 1 for 1.
But I did not see it. I just don't know.
Too soon.
I have to hear if it's good or not from like multiple people.
We might not be having a conversation about this movie.
I got to proceed it with
I mean,
caution.
we're down to Matt here. Matt, did you see it?
I did not.
Nobody here saw
Nobody
Happy
saw
Gilmore
it.
2. Interesting. I mean, it's kind of really not your era though. Like Happy Gilmore.
I've seen it.
But it's still like we're talking mid 90s here. Like, does Bob Barker move the needle at all for you guys? Like,
I thought the Bob Barker cameo was hilarious in the old movie.
So you grew up with Bob Barker. You like knew who he was.
I know. I used the host of Price is Right.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, did you watch Price is Right growing up?
Yeah, when I was like sick.
My grandfather used to always have that on the TV. So yeah, I watched it.
It's a constant like senior citizen show that's watched at noon, every day. Yeah.
Whenever I didn't have school or I was sick and I just turned on TV, I was just on The Price is Right.
The Price is Right and like Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Ooh. I was always when I stayed home from school when I was actually sick, very, very much sick and not just missing school and trying to take a sick day, I did Harry Potter movie marathons a lot. I always loved doing that. And then Matlock, which I absolutely love. Matlock on WGN was locked in on Murder, She Wrote and Matlock. Oh yeah. Like that was a great way to spend several hours on the couch.
Man, I usually just used to watch SportsCenter the entire day, and then
with the replays, are you just watching the same thing over and over again?
Well, if we were lucky, you were talking about WGN a second ago. If we were lucky back then, you could get a Chicago White Sox noon game on your Atlanta TV at about 1 o'clock on a random Wednesday. That was always fun to watch. Whatever happened to that? Is that just? I mean, they used to
stopped doing WGN.
Yeah, I guess that's what it was. Because I remember, like as a kid, like. I mean, obviously the Braves were like the #1 team I would watch, but like the Cubs would like always be on TV on WGN America.
Cubs sold out.
Yeah, I used to get WGN. Network. It was friggin' every day. You got to watch it, but not anymore.
So, in terms of just the broad conversation, because I think it's just really hard to do sequels, and I think people were really hard on Happy Gilmore 2 about what it was ultimately going to be. A lot of cameos. I've heard a lot of talk about like how many famous people were in this movie. And that always gives me pause if like the first thing you say is like there are so many famous people. It's like, okay, so that doesn't mean the movie's good. It just means that high budget. It was an expensive movie to get all these guys in there, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good. But in terms of like when I was thinking the best comedy sequels, because I think there aren't that many great examples. And this is for me, the #1 is still Austin Powers 2. Austin Powers, all 3 are great. I think Goldmember is definitely the weakest of the 3. But I could throw like Austin Powers 2 is, I think, just as good as Austin Powers 1. And I think if I had to do comedy sequels that I think are just as funny, if not funnier than the first, I think it's hard to top Austin Powers.
Yeah. Personally, I first off to give an honorable mention, I have to give one to Scary Movie 2.
Okay.
That's a good honorable mention. And then, but I think it's pretty clear to me the best comedy sequel is Ted 2.
Clear. Ted 2. I don't think I saw Ted 2. I only saw the first one.
I don't know. When I'm thinking of best comedy movies, I'm thinking of, or the best sequels, it's got to be better than the original. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think Borat 2 is definitely very good, but the only thing is it's not as good as the original one. I think Ted 2 is probably better than the original Ted.
Ted's pretty, like the original one's pretty funny.
Yeah.
The original one was funny. Did you see Ted 2?
Is that the one with Brady?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen parts of it. I don't think I've seen the whole one, but I don't know, the original Ted one's pretty funny. I mean, that's kind of like, I think The Hangover, like the original one's the best. 2's like okay, like it's kind of weird, like they go to like Asia, and then the third one is just horrible. But the first one is like you can't top it. But like, I mean, the second one, like, it's pretty funny. It's not as good as the first one though.
22 Jump Street was pretty great.
I've heard that one is great, but I just haven't seen it yet.
I think Matt, you're shaking your head.
That
I
was
feel
the
like
one that came to mind for me.
right?
Whenever we were talking about comedy sequels, there.
Is there another one?
I don't know. I think all the Lampoon's Vacation movies are funny, but I don't really know. I can't really pick out. I don't know which one was the second or whatever, but I think they're all great.
This is topical, and I think it comes out next month. Naked Gun 2 was great with Leslie Nielsen. I think those were all bangers, every single one.
I am a massive Leslie Nielsen fan. I have not seen Naked Gun 2 though, but when I saw the trailer for the Naked Gun reboot, I was shaking my head. I'm like, why are we doing this?
Oh, I think it's gonna be good. I think Liam Neeson's gonna be pretty good at this.
No,
I bet you it's gonna be good.
That's something that should not be remade. I don't know.
It's still TBD. I will say Ace Ventura. My wife is like a gigantic Ace Ventura fan. I did not like the second one. Friend of the program, Matt Green, he loved Ace Ventura 2. I did not like Ace Ventura 2 at all. I thought Ace Ventura 1 was really fun, but the second one I did not think was great. I don't know. But Anchorman 2 is the other one. So I remember I watched them film Anchorman 2. It's actually filmed in Atlanta. So it was one of those things where it was just kind of wild to see like Will Ferrell and everybody on set. So I saw like the fight scene certain days get sorted out, and like the fake yellow New York cabs here in downtown Atlanta. I thought it was kind of funny when you see it in theaters. I'm like, oh, I know where y'all are. That is not New York City. That is downtown Atlanta. But Anchorman 2, I think, got too much hate. I think Anchorman 2 was solid. It wasn't obviously as good as the first one, but I think it was still pretty good. I would get like a B-. Like I laughed out loud for several portions of Anchorman 2. It just wasn't as good.
Was Grown Ups 2 any good?
Not as good as the original.
Do you love Grown Ups 1?
I thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grown Ups 2 has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 8%.
I don't think that's good.
Well, the original one has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 10%. So they only lost 4%. So.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of like Dumb and Dumber is one of my all-time favorite comedy movies. I've probably seen Dumb and Dumber more than any comedy movie of all time, I would probably venture to say. But Dumb and Dumber 2 was not good. I saw it in theaters with my brother years ago and pretty disappointed. Like it's just hard to make recreate the same magic. It's just hard.
Especially when it's like 30 years.
Yes.
From when it was originally filmed.
Yeah, I think sequels, they just don't have the same like juice. Like I'll tell you, like the first one that comes to mind, it's not really comedy. I mean, I guess you could kind of like say it's comedy, but like growing up, like The Sandlot when I was like really young was like an epic movie, and then like the sequels after it were some of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Did they do Sandlot like 2? I didn't know they did the Sandlot 2.
I think they did a Sandlot 3 even.
No, you know what was electric in the sports movie connection? Air Bud Golden Retriever. Golden Receiver, do you get it? Golden Retriever. Air Bud 2 is fantastic. Air Bud 2 is great. He plays football. He plays basketball. What could Air Bud not do? He plays soccer later on. The man's a marvel. The dog, I should say, is a marvel.
Yeah.
Shout out to Buddy. Great stuff. Electric stuff with the Timberwolves, I think is their mascot. It was Timber Pups when he was playing, but yeah, Timberwolves. Did y'all see Air Bud?
No.
No, Air Bud?
I loved Air Bud.
Yeah.
I used to watch it all the time.
Air Bud's great.
Yeah.
The spoiler alert here from a movie from 30 years ago, but man, that pool where he has to pick which way to go towards the end of the first Air Bud, it still gets me every time. Nothing gets me. I don't know if y'all were the same, but like my wife and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago. The movie that we will not go back, even with a child in the future or something, like we cannot watch over again, is Fox and the Hound. No chance. Fox and the Hound will destroy us at any moment. Like I will never revisit Fox and the Hound. Fantastic movie. Can't ever go back. We'll never watch it again. Can't do it. It's too hard on the soul, man.
Dude, it's so sad.
It's so
it's like
sad.
Toy Story 3.
It's brutal.
Worse. My first dog's name was Copper. Like, it
so
was
you
bad.
know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
Matt. Like
Is it like a Marley and Me ending?
Marley and Me was also extremely tough. That one was, I remember walking out of the theater. That
was pretty depressing at the end.
Marley and Me is bad, but like Fox and the Hound, it's like middle parts of the movie too. Like it's not only the end where you're just like fighting the waterworks. Fox and the Hound, man. I'm glad you understand what I'm talking about here, Matt, because if you haven't seen it, you know.
Yeah.
It's brutal. I'll never revisit it. I can't.
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
It's like a kid's movie, and it's just like depressing.
Yeah, it hits you. Nothing hits you quite like Fox and the Hound. For all of our millennial listeners here, they know what we're talking about. Like they grew up on Fox and the Hound, and it's tough.
I think my parents had that one on DVD when I was younger. I might have watched it once. I just don't remember it.
Then you didn't watch it. If you don't remember Fox and the Hound, it didn't make that impact on you. You weren't locked in.
Okay, fair enough.
If you for us locked in Fox and the Hound Copper stands, what was the Fox's name? What was his what is his name? Oh my goodness. Copper and this is gonna drive me nuts. Fox and the Hound. I'm looking at the cast like this is a real person playing the Fox.
Todd.
That's right. Todd. Kurt Russell was Copper and Todd was Mickey Rooney. That's wild. Yeah, no, Fox and the Hound hits you in the feels every time. I don't know if is there any comedy movies that y'all have seen? Like, would you want to see Superbad too? Would that be something you want to revisit? Step Brothers too? Like,
I just think with comedy movies, like you can only do. I don't know. I feel like when it's so good, the next one's not going to live up to it 90% of the time.
Yeah. The one I'll throw out though that I would love to get another. It's kind of a comedy, but I think it's just a perfect movie. It's action. I don't know if y'all ever saw it, The Nice Guys with Gosling and Russell Crowe from about 10 years ago. It's a perfect movie. Like The Nice Guys is fantastic. I would love a sequel. We've all demanded, all of us Nice Guy stands have demanded a sequel for many years. They've never done it. I would love another version of that because it's just brilliant writing. It was so funny.
Never seen that one either. Fox and the Hound didn't ring a bell.
Stay away from Fox and the Hound.
Yeah, never. I don't think I've even heard of it, to be honest.
Be glad.
I think the Deadpool movies are pretty good.
Yeah, Deadpool versus Wolverine was good.
Yeah.
Was that this year? Last year? When
that was last year.
That was last year. Yeah.
Last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. A little too long though.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I was like, we could have cut this down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did y'all see the new Superman movie this summer?
I have not.
Not yet.
Have you seen it?
That. No, I'm not really into like fictional stuff like that. It's not really my forte.
No fiction.
No, I mean I'll do fiction, but
G6 Garrett and non-fiction Garrett.
I never watched Star Wars growing up.
No Batman.
No
Spider-Man.
None of the Captain America stuff was ever something that I was interested in.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles also not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Power Rangers.
Yeah, I think I did watch that growing up. Yeah, I definitely watched that one.
Power Rangers
that was probably the only one.
Electric stuff. Running home, elementary school, first grade. Fox was on and be like, "Hey, we got to lock in, Mom."
Usually, what did you watch when you came home from school in elementary school?
It was Fox. It was that lineup. It was Spider-Man. It was Power Rangers. It was all that.
I was on like the Nickelodeon run.
Yeah.
See, I would do like SpongeBob at like 4, and then like iCarly at 6.
Oh, see, that's different generations.
I was a
Phineas
Phineas
and
and Ferb
gone.
kid for sure. That show was great. And then I guess when I got older, I was a big regular show guy. Still love that show to this day. That show's amazing. A lot of the Cartoon Network stuff. Amazing World of Gumball.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it. The chase is going to come to a close here on a Monday afternoon. Thank you to Garrett Armbrust. Thank you to Matt Bailey. Thank you to Jay King. The Drive with Russell Smith and the Bear is up next. Chase is back tomorrow at 1 p.m. We're out.
The Chase on Fox Sports Knoxville and Fan Run Radio. Heck yeah.